Hey guys, F26 here, and welcome back to Highlights of the F1 League. And we are here today for round number 10 of Season 5, the halfway stage of the season at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. My home track, of course, and one of my better tracks in terms of pace. So we'll be hoping to try and take a good result here as we take turn 1 nicely there. Just remaining on the track there on the white line as we head now down into turn 3 before taking a very wide entry to turn 4, clipping the curb nicely, getting on the power early, but we've lost the back end there. That's going to cost us all the way down the straight. Hopping over that curb is not going to help either, and as you can see, our delta is slowly dropping towards the red as we come towards the end of sector 1. Apparently it was purple. I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate. The game sometimes lies. As we now come round Luffield and trying to get a good XL here, and we've done that reasonably well, and our delta goes back into the green as it was briefly in the red there. So down the old pit straight towards Copse Corner, the original turn 1. We're going to use the curb to give ourselves a wide entry down to 7th, back up to 8th on the exit. Pretty decent, maybe we could have used a bit more track there, but overall not too bad. Magus Beckett's now, we've taken that quite nicely, using all the curb on that left-hander now, and Chapel as well, open it up nicely on the exit. We've got a bit of oversteer, but not too bad. If it wasn't for the average first sector in the lap, this could have been actually a pretty good lap, but we lost a lot of time in sector 1, and that is going to cost us here and maybe cost us pole as we come through Stowe now. Also taking that quite nicely, maybe could have put the power on a bit earlier mid corner as we now come towards the Vale chicane. Very nice through there. And the second part, can we run the car out wide? A bit of oversteer there, shouldn't harm us too much. We come across the line for a 1 minute 29.997, and that will place us on pole here as Luke, unfortunately for him, bottled his last attempt. So yeah, a very surprising pole for us ahead of the Silent Moral, Lexbox 1. These are reactions on the mediums. Sam F1 LFC, our teammate, of course, having another good qualifying after his podium last time out. Camundo also on the mediums. Then Jordan Gibbs, Warden, Casey Legend, and Hamilton Fan rounding out the top 10. So yeah, unexpected pole, especially for myself. I was not expecting to get pole here, and we'll have to see what we can do in the race now. The game actually giving us the right strategy for once, except we'll switch around the hard and the medium in all probability there. But yeah, tyre wear is quite bad around here, especially on the front left, as I'm sure you know. But we'll try and not get too bad a tyre wear. But the main issue for us is the people who qualified on mediums may be able to do a one-stop. So we're going to have to watch out for Azar and Camundo, especially as the pit lane around this track is horrendously long, so you gain a lot of time from doing one less stop. So Luke and I will be looking to work together to try and get a lead, and then catch up using DRS after our second pit stop. So it's not going to be easy for us, but of course we're going to give it our best shot now as we come towards the end of the formation lap, ready to line up on the grid, and we will be looking forward to the start of this race. I was hoping to get a podium. The championship is extremely tight at the top. It's Luke and Azar tied at the moment, with me 6 points back. I don't know their exact points, but yeah, the gap is what is important, and we'll be hoping to retake the championship lead here if we have a good enough race. But we already gained 3 points on Azar, but Luke's gained 2 points, so Luke is technically in the championship going into this race after qualifying. But yeah, we have the lights now. It's 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the British Grand Prix. We've actually got a good start for once, and we're going to maintain the lead nice and easily down into turn 1. Luke holds station in second, whereas Lexbox 1 remains in third as well. So all looking pretty clean there as we head down towards turn at number 3 now. We made the apex nicely. Jordan Gibbs runs a bit deep in the background, but overall not too bad through there. I think there was a bit of contact at the back between Warden and someone, but that's unfortunate for those guys. At the front, everyone kept it clean, and I think all the main contenders for this race have come out in one piece, and that's kind of unfortunate for us, because if Azar or Camundo had picked up damage or had a spin or something, that would help us out massively later in the race, but that hasn't happened, and everyone is still in contention, so it should be a fair race of true pace and strategy here to see who can win. But as I'm sure most of you know now, I'm quite nervous on the first lap, and we had got a little gap over the Silent Mole, but he has of course closed back up to us due to the fact that we're not the best on lap 1, and the fact that Luke is probably quicker than us anyway. Although taking Magus and Beckett's reasonably nicely, but we've got a lot of understeer through Chapel there, and that's going to allow Luke to have a chance on us on the hanger straight. At this point I wasn't too bothered. I was happy for him to go through, as you can see, putting it down into lead. But this was a bit of a mistake. I did not put it back up into rich, and now Lexbox 1 is going to have a look around the outside into Stowe. We're going to go side by side through the corner, squeeze him out a little bit on the exit onto the curb, all fair though, but he's still alongside as we head down towards the chicane. Then I give him space on the apex there, and he's still trying to hang it around the outside of the second part of the chicane, but we squeeze him out onto the exit curb, and that is us remaining in P2 for the time being, as we now head down towards turn number 1 for the second time. But that battling with Xbox One has been bad, although Sam has now got through, which is good for the team, but I've lost track of Luke a little bit as I once again run very deep into turn 3 there. But me dropping behind Luke is obviously very bad for us, because we need to be sticking with him to get the DRS and work together. But if he's running away from us, that's not going to be the optimum pace that we can run at. But it's looking alright, skipping towards the end of lap 2, and we've actually set the fastest lap of the race, so our pace does appear to be there as we now head through turn 1. Probably having to lift there. I wasn't paying attention to our throttle inputs as we come down once again through turn 2 towards turn 3, and we've once again outbraked ourselves because we're bad at this game. But the main question is here, will we pick up DRS? Meanwhile, Lex wants to try and dive up the inside of Sam into turn 4, and I think he's made it stick, but we have DRS. That is crucial, and at the moment it's looking nice and good for us. So skipping towards lap 5 now, literally nothing has happened. We've remained just about within Luke's DRS, which is obviously crucial, as mentioned earlier, and we're now both going to dive into the pit lane here for our first stop, and we're going to go very close to Luke there. Luke going extremely slowly in the pit entry, and I think we did actually touch him there, so that's rather interesting. And yeah, Luke just being a bit overly cautious on the pit entry, but obviously around this track, as we found out in ULC, a drive-through is going to cost you absolutely hugely, so you don't want to be getting that. Luke pulls into his pit box, and we're going to go down towards the end of the pit lane for the Haas pit box, and we're going to put on a set of the hard compound tyres, which Luke has also done. The Xbox One, interestingly, putting on the medium tyres, so he may have the pace, he may not. We'll have to wait and see. His pace has been surprisingly good on his return to league racing after quite a long time out, I believe. But yeah, he's on the mediums. Is he going to be able to catch us? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We remain behind Luke quite far down the order at this point, but that's because obviously there are some one-stoppers and also some two-stoppers who are yet to pit. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I suspect we'll be in around 3rd and 4th when everyone comes into the pits, as we just stay in the DRS once again. So, however, unlike last time, it was not just Luke staying just about ahead of us. We actually had the pace over Luke on these hard compound tyres, and we're going to hopefully try and utilise that as we're now up to P5 as Sam and someone else visits the pit lane. We're going to try and utilise the pace that we have to actually get past him on the next straight. We're going to take a wide entry into that corner now as we can now come through the loop. We've got a better exit there, and we're going to be on the DRS already. Luke maybe lagging back into us a little bit, but we're on the DRS now, and we're going to make a move for P number 4 at the moment, with Casey still yet to pit, as we move up into, well, technically not the effective race lead, but we're going to call it that because let's make ourselves feel like we're winning the race. But yeah, we move up now into P4, and the question is, will Luke be able to come back at us? And the answer is most certainly yes. I'm going to put it down to lean here. I'm going to let him go up the inside. No point fighting it. We need to use this DRS to help us pull ourselves along towards the leading group as we now come through Stowe there nice and easily, letting Luke take that line, and he moves back up into P4 for the time being. Casey's not in the pits yet. I reckon it'll be next lap or the lap after. But yeah, just following Luke at the moment. Our pace seems to be much better on these hard tyres immediately. I don't know why. Maybe Luke just doesn't like these harder tyres, or I've just found some more confident with fresh tyres. You saw the white line there on the exit of turn 1, tried to chuck us off, but we just about managed to save it, and we're once again going to have DRS on Luke on this DRS straight, the Wellington straight, but I don't think we'll be close enough unless he makes a mistake, which he hasn't, and that should be it for the time being. But skipping a couple of laps later, and we are actually going to have the DRS now onto lap 9, I believe. Yep, and we're going to have the DRS once again. We're going to go out the inside into Brooklands, and that is move done if we can get it stopped, which indeed we can there. Back up into P4, and at this point we're not battling. Luke and I are just trying to get past each other when we're close enough in the DRS, and I think that is going to help us gain on Azar and Mundo, who are currently leading the race. Meanwhile, we set the fastest lap at the end of lap 9 there, and Casey Legend now heads into the pit lane, and we move up into P3, but the gap to Mundo, as you can see by the minimap, is pretty big, and then Azar's even further ahead of that. So it's not going to be easy for us if we want to win this race, but we're going to give it our best shot on the faster tyres till the end now, and We've run over that curb quite a bit there, but Luke is unable to do anything. Now, skipping later on to lap number 10, Luke once again with the slipstream, and we've just put it into lean and once again let him pass into Stowe. As you can see, Azar's already crossed the line, so he's a long way ahead at this moment, but we're going to try and fight back and catch him up whilst we're on the better tyres, and then once again at the end when we're on the better tyres. I reckon we can do it, but it's not going to be easy. Luke and I are going to have to work together throughout almost all of the race to catch up, as he now sets the fastest lap at the end of lap 10 there, as we're going to have to back out into turn 1. No point going for that move, because it'll probably result in a massive crash. But meanwhile, at the end of that lap, and Jesus, Camundo decided that he wanted to pit for a very, very early change onto the hard tyres, which he's going to have to take 16 laps. It's not going to be easy, but I'm sure he'll try and manage it. Obviously, if you remember last week, he did a one stop in Austria. So if he can do a one stop in Austria, I'm sure he can do one here in Silverstone, even if it's a bit earlier than normal. Anyway, skipping later on, we passed Luke up into what is now P2 at the end of lap 11, and Azar once again stays out. And now skipping on to lap 12, heading towards Magnus and Beckett, and we've got a corner cut warning there. That's actually our second warning. I didn't show our first one because I didn't find it when I was editing. But yeah, that's not ideal. We need to make sure we don't get another warning for the rest of the race, for the remaining half of it, because if we do, obviously we get slapped with a 3-second penalty, and we don't want any of that. Meanwhile, Luke has once again passed us on the hanger straight into Stowe, and once again making use of the slipstream, although he's got a poor exit out of Stowe there, and that might give us an opportunity, but there's no point in trying that. That's just going to cost us both time. But I do now believe Azar is in the pit lane, and that is going to move us up into P1 and 2. If he's not in the pit lane, that's me being an idiot. But yes, he's in the pit lane, and Luke moves up into the lead. I move up into P2 here, and that is lovely, I must say. And once again, Azar did have a big gap, as mentioned, but the hards actually get better as they go through the stint. So the tyres that we're currently on are probably better than what Azar is on the fresh hards. And anyway, he's come out behind Sam and Lexbox, who are battling, so that could hold him up a little bit as well, as we now get the DRS once again on the Wellington straight. We're going to go up the inside of Luke into Brooklands, and that is again an easy move for us, and we probably gained a little bit of time from doing that, and Luke will be able to catch up with us pretty quickly. As you can see, the proximity arrow already appearing alongside on the exit of Luffield. But yeah, that's all nice and good. Skipping later on onto the lap, onto the hanger straight, and we're once again going to go into lean and let Luke go by into Stowe, and he'll take the line, and that is nicely done. Once again, us working together here to try and make sure we can get a big lead for when we do have to come in to make our second pit stop, as we now come through the chicane, and we should get that done nicely as we come across the line. And I don't know why we're still showing this, probably because we're about to overtake him on the Wellington straight. But yeah, coming through turn 1, keeping it nice and clean there, sticking on the back of Luke as we come down towards turn number 3, actually hitting the apex this time instead of missing our braking point. Once again, taking a very wide line into turn 4, trying to get a good exit, which we do this time. And is that going to allow us to get past Luke on the Wellington straight? As we get on the DRS now, Luke's just going to stay to the racing line, let us up the inside, and we get the move done once again for the second lap in a row, and that is us back into position 1 for the British Grand Prix. And yeah, that's looking all pretty good at the moment for us, trying to get the lead up ahead of Azar, which we are doing very nicely. But now everything's changed. There's a virtual safety car here on lap number 14, and at this point I see I can gun it. I'm going straight towards the pit lane to go for a set of hard tyres. We've absolutely dropped Luke by abusing the game here, as we managed to get it slowed down. No, we don't. We've got to drive through once again, and I couldn't believe it. What an absolute bottle job, as you can see me spamming the look behind button in anger there. I can't believe I've done that once again at this track. A drive-through penalty. If you look at my throttle input on the way into the pits, you'll see I briefly apply some throttle before I get it slowed down because I think I slowed it down too much. But as you can see, we're checking the race director, looking at Luke, and as you can see, he's also got a drive-through. So unbelievable scenes here, as both of the leaders have bottled it and got a drive-through. The virtual safety car is now ending, and I think Azar and Mundo will move up into P1 and 2, but they're not far ahead of us, and this was absolutely gutting for us. We're on another set of hards, but that's not the point. We would have been able to close that gap easily to Mundo and possibly Azar as well, but we both have a drive through, Luke and myself, and that's going to drop us well out of contention, possibly behind Sam and Casey. Definitely behind Sam, possibly behind Casey, and it seems very unlikely that either of us will be sitting on the podium at the end of today's race, and that is an absolutely huge bottle job. As you can see, the gap to Camando, 3.3 seconds. I could have had that win very easily, as could Luke. He could have been fighting me for it as well. And for the first time this season, we may well have seen me, Luke and Azar all on the podium together, but no, Luke and I have absolutely messed that up, and yeah, we were pretty gutted about that one. Coming into the pits to serve our drive through, this time getting it slowed down nice and early, and you'll have to sit here for about 30 seconds whilst I drive through the pit lane, and we'll see where we come out. At this point, I decided to take the drive through as early as possible, which maybe wasn't a good idea because we might end up behind traffic, which Luke has decided to take his drive through as late as possible, so it's going to be very interesting to see where we both come out here and who comes out ahead. I expect Luke will be ahead of me, but we may well be wrong. It depends what goes on as we now come towards the end of the pit lane. Sam has already gone past, and it's going to be very close between us and Casey Legends as we come out of the pits, getting the throttle on now as we go full throttle on the pit exit. Now, where is Casey? I can't actually see him. There he is, and we have been dropped all the way down to position 6 here in Britain. An absolute disaster for us, and we're going to have to fight back very hard if we want a podium. I think it's pretty much out of reach unless there's an actual safety car, and yeah, hopefully we're looking to take 4th at the moment, take Casey, and when Luke comes into the pits, make sure we get ahead or stay ahead of him depending on where he comes out. But apart from that, there's not really much more we can take from this race. Azar Actions, if he wins the race, will extend his championship lead over both of us, which is obviously absolutely disastrous for us as we were hoping to capitalise from this race. But it's not the end of the world. There's still 10 races left after this one, so hopefully we can fight that back as we don't appear to have the pace at the moment. Casey actually appears to be quicker than us, although we are absolutely rapid through Maggots and Beckett's nicewheel.com. But Casey's also on the wheel, so I don't really know, to be honest. But anyway, Luke sets the fastest lap of the race. We're going to go past Casey now as we head down towards Stowe, and we've easily got that done with the DRS. And at this point, I need to clear off. We don't want him to be DRSing us back down the Wellington Straight at the start of the next lap. And we didn't let him DRS us back, and we got a bit of a gap over him. And now, as you can see, later on in the race, at the start of lap number 18, Luke is serving his drive-through, and he's come out behind his teammate Casey. So, despite going the extra distance, it hasn't worked, and Luke has actually ended up behind Casey as well. And I may have done something for that. Casey sticking on my DRS but not being able to make him pass may have meant that he's actually ahead of Luke instead of behind. But yeah, nothing much really happened except for the fact there's another virtual safety car just after we set a personal best for the race. There. And yeah, nothing really happening there. Virtual safety car now ending as we come through. Luffield will just abuse the game's fraud system here, like pretty much everyone does now. And yeah, at the moment Luke's actually just got past Casey, so he'll be hunting us down, as we can see on the Hanger Straight on lap number 22. We're going green, but Luke is going to be quicker than us. At this point, I had nothing to lose. I'm going to try and defend this position as he goes up the inside of Stowe. I don't fight it. He's run way too deep there. We're going to get him on the cutback here. And we're going to squeeze him onto the exit curb as we head down towards the Vale chicane. Can we get this done on the outside? We're going to have to leave him space on the apex as he's still there, as we're going to take the line for the the second part of the corner, and he's unable to switch back us there. So he keeps position 4 for the time being, but it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, until Luke does get past, although apparently he does have a penalty, so if we can stick within 3 seconds, that should be us easily taking P4. But Luke's going to try an optimistic dive up inside of Brooklands, but I'm going to squeeze him to the apex. I'm not having any of that. I want to keep this position for the championship to try and gain those points on Luke, which will be 3 points, from 1 from the quality point and 2 from in the race. So skipping on to the final lap now, and Luke is still hounding us, unable to make a move as of yet, but he's going to try and go up the inside into turn number 3. We're going to hang that around the outside. We're not having that. And at this point, this is the point in the party where he tells me he has a penalty and that he needs the gap to Casey. So I'm not going to lose time fighting him. My tyres were pretty much dead anyway. I was in puncture territory, so we're going to let him through here, up the inside into Brooklands, and not fight that at all. And at this point, we're just focusing on making sure we don't get a puncture and bringing this home within 3 seconds of Luke to take position 4 here, which will overall, despite how disappointing it sounds considering the position we were in. It will be a good result. And as you can see, skipping to the end of the lap, we have stayed within the time that we required, and we will take home P4 here. Camundo actually had a lot of penalties, so P3 could have been on the cards maybe if we'd managed our tyres better. Casey actually got a puncture on the last laps. He got one at 75% because this game is really bad. But yeah, results on screen. Congrats to Azar Reactions. Fantastic drive on the one stop there. Sam, my teammate, actually took second on penalties due to Camundo having to start slowing down a lot on the last lap as well as having the penalties. Myself in fourth and Luke in fifth. And yeah, I can't remember the rest. I think it's CK in sixth and Master Berserk in seventh, with Casey down in eighth after his unfortunate puncture on the last lap, only losing out to Master Berserk by a tenth due to the penalties. But yeah, that was very disappointing overall because I reckon I could have fought for the win. But yeah, obviously 100% my fault there, and we'll hope to bounce back stronger next time around the Hungaroring. See you then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.